but we'll have to see what we get. We could just get the classic sword escape. Who knows? Well, we'll see. The Uncle text, he says, don't worry, he's got this. No problem. And then we'll have a little pause for sync, and then our runners will be off. Looks like we got Mega Man against one of the Toho sprites from the looks of things.
Oh, and 300 rupees to start, so that'll be nice for Kakariko and help them towards their Zora payment.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And then even if they don't get lucky on bomb drops or bombs showing up at all, at least you're able to buy bombs in Kakariko and have money for everything in there. So 300 rupees is a pretty good early pickup for sure. So we are getting to the moment of truth, the first of many. What does the uncle have for us here? We'll have to take a look, and it is going to be Fire Rod. So limited ability to farm for bombs, but it's definitely a pretty fast weapon. We'll see Malle killing the first green guard trying for a bomb drop there, and he actually dropped a magic pod, so we'll be able to pick that up on the way out. Oh, and an early map check for Malle there. I like this one because there's no reason to hold off on this map check. It's not like you're not going to do a light world map check, most likely. So just get it out of the way. You can start thinking maybe about what dungeon to go for early on. And I do believe Eastern was a pendant, which can make perhaps going there without the bow a little more appealing in the end of the game because you might not need to come back. Now that does put Malle a little bit behind. He's going to kill a couple more guards hoping for bomb drops. You have enough spare magic to throw a few extra fire rod shots around, but no luck so far for either players on having those bombs show up, and no luck on items yet so far really because we just got the map here. So what do you think, Liminality? Are we going to get anything useful in this escape, or is this going to be just a bunch of rupees and arrows?
I'm honestly expecting anything useful to be at this point in the sewers section, either from that one lone chest in the dark room or the 3 in the back. So hopefully they're able to get bombs and they don't have to either wait for Power Glove to go back down there or have to double back through the sewer section a second time.
Yeah, that's absolutely the worst. I mean, the Power Glove trip is okay, but having to walk back in through the front of the escape is just terrible, and it can definitely happen because that stuff is in Sphere 1, so the runners may have to do that. We've seen, I think, Viper King use up a little bit more magic, killing a couple extra guards, but no luck on bomb drops. Fortunately, does have that magic pod that was in the green guard pool to help a little bit, but we'll get to one-shot the ball and chain guard here. This is what the fire rod is nice for, but it looks like Malle is going to save the magic, opt to throw pots instead. Oh, no, never mind. Gonna throw pots into the ground and then use the fire rod. Oh, there's the mirror. Okay, if they remember, they can mirror out and save walking out with Zelda, and Viper does remember, so that's going to be pretty good. Same with Malle.
Yeah, that is very nice because though it is nice to be able to maybe kill a few more green guards, since they have the fire rod, they are very limited on their magic.
Yeah, that's for sure. Viper King actually only has one shot left right now, so that's only enough for the key rat. Malle's got a couple, so that he'll be able to shoot the ropes in the room that Viper King's coming up to now, which gives a good chance for a bomb drop because a lot of them all die. So we'll have to see if this pays off. We haven't seen, I think, what's in this drop pool for these, so yeah, Viper King's getting damage boost through. Malle's gonna shoot, but only one dies, unfortunately. Gonna kill a couple more, but Malle's out of magic.
Hopefully, they know where the
they're both out of
magic
magic.
pods.
They're both gonna have to save and quit from this, aren't they?
Oh,
no,
nope.
There is a magic pod. Okay, I actually didn't know about that. That's really good to know.
Oh, and they got a red cane already. So another magic weapon, but that's actually really nice to get early since there are a lot of nice things you can do with the cane.
Yeah, now Viper King's in a little trouble here because here he is in the room with the key rat, but no magic, but also knowing about these magic pots. This is a good learning experience for me. I had no idea there was this many magic pots in the sewers. That makes me feel so much better about the fire rod, or the cane, or Burna, or whatever you want to say.
Viper using that red cane very nicely, though, because it does use up significantly less magic than the fire rod. Same with Malle now, killing the rats with the block that created.
Yeah, this is the last chance to try to find a bomb drop before just leaving these couple chests behind. And this last rat being pretty evasive for Malle. Gets it down, no bombs. Viperking moving on from that room as well. So both runners here unable to check the pack of escape. That's not going to burn either one of them because they're both going to have to go back there eventually. And I do hope that they get the power glove to check it, but we might see a slow walk at some point.
And as if to taunt them, the Sanctuary chest is a capacity upgrade for bombs.
Yeah, that'd be great if they had any to put in there. So, Viperking heading up. Looks like a check on Lumberjack Cave will be coming up along with the tree pole and the crab check. Of course, hoping for a bomb drop from any of this so that you don't have to go all the way down to the south part of Kakariko. Actually skips that tree pole there. Might be going for one in Lost Woods instead. And skips the crab. Doesn't care about that stuff. He's going to just check Lumberjack Cave. We'll see what is in the pool for Malle, probably.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Every little bit of money can help. Prior to Zora, you don't want to end up having to farm, but the crab is just hearts, so no luck on bombs for either player so far. Maybe there will be some in Lost Woods, maybe not. And oh my goodness, the Lumberjack ledge is the hammer.
Well, that guarantees that we will be seeing Aganim 1 at some point in the seed because that hammer is 100% required to be able to clear at least 4 different dungeons.
Yeah, and that's a big part of their Dark World access as well. So, kind of bad news because they have to go do Aga, but also good news because it means the boots are not going to be too buried in the seeds. So they'll need that to get to there. There's a fairly large amount of love hanging out in Lost Woods. 2 full hearts, so that helps with the old safety early on. And the last bit of magic for Viperking goes into blocking that bird away. Malle's just going to walk through it because no magic. So we'll have to see what our runners opt to do in Kakariko here. They could take a gamble and head into Blind's Hut blind without bombs. And Viperking, I thought for a second was going to do that, but is actually going to head to the bottle vendor and then head down, looks like, to maybe buy bombs, but as I say that, it's faking me out again and is going to try the well. So if Viperking finds bombs in here, that can be a pretty nice time save, not walking south and then right through Kakariko. Malle is going for the more consistent kind of approach where you get bombs down south and then head up. So that was blue mail hanging out in the bottom of the well. Unfortunately, I missed what the last chest was there, but no bombs, so Viperking may have to walk down and buy them now. Well, actually, Viperking's going to try Blind's Hut now. We'll see what is behind these bomb walls for Malle. Just $20 in the chicken house. And coming in to the bottom of Blind's Hut, we'll get 4 chests here from Viperking. I hope, for his sake, that there's bombs in here, but it's only a bomb upgrade again. And then a little bit of money, a little bit more money, and the shovel. So no luck on these blind checks. And we'll find out momentarily from Malle if it's going to really matter. Or, I mean, Viperking will probably have to come back and check them at some point anyways, but we'll see if there's something there, pretty much. Oh, he's gonna dig for bombs. That's pretty cute.
And he manages to dig up a fairy. Admittedly, so far this seed wants to be a little taunting with the bomb capacity upgrades.
Well, 8 bombs are in the ground there, so good job from Viperking. Thinking of that, and the flute's back there, so it's a good thing that he's heading in right away to pick that up, because getting flute in Kakariko is just super convenient.
Oh yeah, not only are they going to be able to activate it right away, but the flute itself just it makes your routing so much easier because you have the 8 points that you can just jump to rather than need to save and quit and start from either at this point Link's house or Sanctuary, or later on maybe being able to start up at Death Mountain instead. So that with the Mire, they have great routing opportunities, and they just got the Power Gloves in the back of the well.
Well, that's some pretty good stuff. So those bomb locations being pretty important, and both players will have that stuff. I think Malle is going to come out a little bit ahead on this Kakariko just because of having not gone into the Blind's Hut blind, but we'll be pretty close. We'll get pretty synchronized Swag Duck anthems here as they let the bird free, and then we'll, I guess, head down to race game, and then things are pretty open from there. They have a reasonable amount of things they can check.
Yep, I'm guessing I know the traditional route would be to head and do South Hyrule, Lake Hylia area next, but they could opt to gamble and do something different, such as go up to Death Mountain, even though they can only get really 2 items out there, one being a sequence break through the Old Man.
Yeah, and that old man without a sword, at least to sort of light your way in the darkness, can be a bit of a pain. But they could get to Hera. Unfortunately, they can't kill Moldorm because they have no weapons that affect it. But race game's just $20, and Malle will move on for that. Going to use the shovel, walk down through the lower light world here, and that's a pretty good choice. This is a pretty efficient time to do this. I mean, maybe someday you get to do all of this with the South Dark World check and mirroring over, but this way to get down to Dam is pretty good, and probably even just dig and then flute down to the Dam.
Yep, and it especially helps that they already and flippers he just dug up, so that actually is beautiful, because I was thinking that I forgot they had the flute, but if they didn't have that, even with Power Gloves, it would be a decent route to just pick up the rock and then come down to the Dam where Malle is now.
Yeah, it's pretty efficient. Lots of overworld checks going in here quite quickly. And there's a bottle in the Dam. Malle pulled out the mirror to do the block glitch and then forgot that you can just walk through, I guess. Old habits die hard, where you normally have to go in that room twice, but no big deal. Is able to walk through quickly the second time. That'll involve a trip back to Sikit at some point, but with the flute, that can happen anytime pretty easily.
And Malle pulling out the bombs, and looks like they are going to be heading towards Mini Moldorm Cave. And without the magic, it looks like they'll probably be needing to use bomb strats to kill them.
Yeah, 7 bombs is a pretty comfortable count to do this with, but these Moldorms can be a little bit of a pain. Just a little bit of a pain sometimes. So we'll see how it goes. The first one is going to get killed by the hold the bomb strat. The left 2 are split up, but they are dying. Just making sure that they go down quickly. You do want to at least maintain some bombs to, maybe do Ice Rod Cave later, but again, with the flute, you can put it off as long as you want. Malle doing a good job with that, getting them down with a lot of carried bombs there. And now in the back of Mini Moldorm Cave, we have a lot of love, a little bit of love, some arrows, some bombs, and a lot of nothing. But at least that refills the bomb count.
Yeah, Malle is now leaving this cave with 1 more bomb than they started.
It'll be interesting to see how Viperking manages here, because his bomb count is considerably worse than Malle's going in. 1 bomb to open the cave, and then only 4 bombs to kill all 4 Moldorms. It's of course possible to get a double kill on the ones over on the left side, but instead is going to opt to walk over and check Agina's cave from the looks of things, maybe because of that low bomb count. And with the flute, it's not that painful to revisit Mini Moldorm Cave when, he has magic or more bombs.
Malle finding the blue cane and deciding to save and quit out. I can understand that since they are 100 rupees away from Zora. If they had have gotten 100 or more rupees from there, I suspect they probably would have taken the warp portal up to Zora to get the waterfall fairy chests and Zora done, plus Zora's ledge, all out at the same time. But now they're finally going back to get those 3 chests that they missed in Escape.
Yeah, this is a great thing to do on your first save and quit if you have the gloves. You see it done all the time in open mode when you don't go through the escape normally. That these 3 chests, they never really get better to check, so you might as well check them as early as you can. But today, well, they've got a sword, so that's pretty darn good. That's pretty handy to have. Now we'll see what's next for Malle here. With that sword, Hera is now completable. Fire Source and sword will let that dungeon be finished. There's a flute going on, so could head up to 1, could opt for something else, but it is going to be 1, so looks like we get our first look at Death Mountain here as Viper King is heading over to grab that Cane of Burna from the Ice Rod Cave now.
Yeah, one thing that is admittedly nice with Ice Rod Cave also is at the far right, as you're coming up there, there's a small block that admittedly is a 50-50 chance of giving you a bomb. So if you are low, you can always go there and, if you have the Power Glove, and hope that you can get the bomb that you need, or just simply to restock.
Yeah, that's good to know about for sure. I bet both these runners here are wishing they had more magic. Maybe Viper King drinking that red potion, I'm suspecting this is a trip to the witch's hut to buy a green potion just to get magic so that the mini Moldorm cave can just get toasted by the fire rod or the cane.
And it looks like you are 100% correct. So they'll put him a little bit farther off from Zora, but in the end, it hopefully won't harm him too much. Hopefully, when he ends up choosing to do Zora, maybe he'll be able to route in Catfish as well and just mirror and get the other chests, which would be actually really good for efficiency overall at this stage.
Yeah, that's true. Catfish is very painful to route up to if you can, not do anything else at the same time. So runners will often put it off if that's the situation they find themselves in. But we also do know that Aganim has to be completed at some point. Not that runners have access to it yet, but that thought of just killing Aga and then going to Catfish and marrying Zora is definitely not bad at all. So we've got our Dark World map check. Green pendants on Pod, other pendant is Skull Woods, and looks like Turtle Rock is our other 5-6.
So that means they're going to need to find the Ice Rod at some point, which hopefully they can find it sooner than later.
Yeah, and this opens a scary thing in my mind as well, because both Eastern and Pod are pendants, which puts the bow as a possible GT item, and that's just horrifying, honestly. But it's now in the cards, unfortunately. All right, so it's going to be our sick kid check from Viper King here. We'll see what he's got, what ails him today. It's just $20. Malle heading up Tower of Hera. It was just a compass in the basement cage, and the big key was in the back, so might not have to do the tile room, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, the one fortunate thing with this is that I believe it was version 28, they made it whereas the small key for Hera can be locked in the basement. So there is a chance that Malle may not at all pick it up and can just rest easy knowing they don't have to sink time into that tower.
Yeah, that's a huge relief. I mean, when you have to go into tower room for what might be a useful item. Oh, okay, here we got the bomb jump from Malle, and oh no, edges too far into the pit. That one's very precise without boots, and unfortunately, if you fall into that pit, you go down 2 floors, so that's a pretty big time loss. But Malle was in a pretty good position, coming into Hera. He's checked, I guess, pretty much everything that Viper Kid has, minus Sick Kid. So had a bit of a lead. We'll lose some time with that, but still looking pretty good for Malle in this situation.
Oh, and Viper King deciding to not do Hera yet. Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
He doesn't have a sword because he didn't do the back of escape yet. So opting out of Hera makes a lot of sense because he can't kill Moldorm.
Looks like instead they'll be checking Sahasrara's back room and possibly checking Eastern Palace.
Yeah, I don't mind the Eastern play here. Dungeons do have a lot of value because their locations are just weighted a little bit heavier than the overworld. And that means Eastern may have some items, and in fact is going to go Eastern before Sahasrara, which is Well, I mean, it's a little bit more efficient in terms of speed, as long as Sahashala doesn't have the bow hiding back there, in which case he might be kicking himself. But people take these kind of little gambles to try to optimize time here and there, so I don't mind seeing something like this.
And Malle got the first item, it looks like, from Hera, just another bomb upgrade. So they're really hoping that Moldorm does not have the last dungeon item, since they did pick up that small key.
Yeah, we'll have to find out momentarily. Viper King gets the big key for Eastern in that first chest, so that's pretty nice. We'll be able to check that before doing the Dark Rooms. As Malle going into Moldorm, everybody's favorite fight, especially when you only have a level 1 sword. But things are looking pretty good so far. Just playing it safe, making sure not to get knocked off, making sure to stay away from that middle pit, and using the ability to just tink off of Moldorm and hold into the platform to avoid getting pushed off the edge. And getting a lot of hits in here. Moldorm's on the last hit now, and there's the poke, and that will do it for Malle. Oh.
It is unfortunately the map, so Malle cannot actually go into the tile room. Oh no, they can. I'm sorry, they have Fire Rod, so they can go in there. The question is, will they opt to do that or not?
I feel like at this point you probably should. It's very early in the seed, and Indeed is going to go right back in there. I can definitely see gambling on skipping that maybe later on, or when you have a lot of stuff open to check, but there's not a ton of stuff available right now, so I do like this decision to just go back there right away. And then you don't have to think about it for the rest of the run. We get a little bit of a break from Malle. In the meantime, Viper King is making progress through Eastern. I haven't seen anything interesting in here so far, but the big chest, just some bombs. It's going to go for Dark Rooms here. Eastern Dark Rooms are not too bad, but without a sword, it is possible to get maybe a little lost in here, so hopefully things go well for Viper King, but we won't really know too well, because all we'll see is a black screen for a little bit. Alright, so tile room's done for Malle, and what do we have in the bottom of Hera? Did we just take a break to get 20 bucks, or is it going to be something good? Piece of heart.
That is unfortunate, and I would also like to point out, it looks like Viper King is managing to get these Dark Rooms done pretty well, considering they don't have the sword or anything for a point of reference. I spoke just a hair too soon.
Yeah, it gets beat up by the Stelphos in that key room. They had the key and were almost back to the door, but didn't manage to get through. He's going to go back in and do it again. Now, having gotten the key, they can just walk, the other direction around that dark room. But this is, wanting to be thorough, it does make sense, but this chest they're going for right now is out of the logic, since the lamp has not been acquired just yet. And Malle wants to do Zoro, so we'll farm the remaining rupees in this little Thieves hideout here. And this is pretty fast. It's only 2 trips in, and then you can clear things out. You don't risk going up to Zora, maybe hoping you find rupees and get nothing. I do like, the fact that Viper King bought that extra green potion and managed to use it there to kill that Stelphos in Eastern just now. It's like, no sword. We're kind of playing as a mage in this one. You think Link's normally kind of like a fighter type, but no. Today we're a magic user.
Yep, and Malle saying, unfortunately, that the Desert Ledge is just blue rupee today.
Yep, and we will get to see what this last chest is in Eastern from Viper King. So, quick little damage boost here to lift the pot. Gets it, 1 health left, nice job. It's just another piece of heart, so both players getting their share of disappointment from the Hera basement and the Eastern big chest, or big key chest, I should say.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like Viper forgot to check Sahasrara, unfortunately. I'm guessing they'll route it in later.
Oh yeah, that could be. Maybe just slipped his mind from having done, Eastern. Maybe intended to walk out of there initially, but the death might have messed with him a little bit. So now we get some swimming going on from Malle. I can't remember. I feel like Viper King may have already swam up to Hobo, but the races all mix up in my head, so I could be completely wrong about that. Viper King is gonna go up and looks like go for the old man in the dark here. He's gonna use the Cane of Burna as a locator, but not much magic. It's gonna run out soon, so probably just intending to use it for the way there and knows the way back well. And for those of you just tuning in, the sword is in the back of Escape. Neither player got a bomb during the escape. Malle managed to go and check it. Viper King hasn't made it there yet, so probably will find it soon, but doesn't have it just yet. And actually has the bail out of the old man there. Got a little turned around in the dark. Without that sword. Oh, okay, this is actually kind of a pain. When you pick up the old man, you get a save point. So Viper King does have to work his way out of this dark room now, with the old man following. But that, at least he knows where he is every time he saves and quits. But this can be a little bit of a pain now that you're trapped here. I don't think the mirror takes you out of this cave. Oh no.
One thing that I'm wondering is, it might not help much, but could you somehow use the shovel to help gauge your position? Because I know you can use the hookshot to do that.
I have never tried. And there's a console reset for Viper King there, so man, probably, yes, it's still in the same position, so I hope he's able to find his way out of this cave. This can be really rough when you get stuck on the save point without the lamp, but there's no mercy for people who have managed to fumble their way in halfway and have to now fumble their way out. But Viper King making a go of it now. We can't really tell what's going on because all we see is darkness, but hopefully soon we'll see Death Mountain again. Oh, could place some bombs to at least figure out where he is on the screen. Having 13, I could maybe help? I just fell down a pit. So meanwhile, Malle is just cleaning things up, looking for maybe the ability to do Aga, the lamp, just something to help move forward in this seed. And that honestly could be Sahasrara's closet, so we might see that pretty soon from Malle. Maybe do Eastern first, since he can just lift the rock here, but no, he's gonna go for Sahasrara first. Of course, if you find the bow here, then you would very much regret going to Eastern first, so very sensible choice. Alright, so what do you think is going to break us out of this kind of situation that Malle's in? Trying to find the next progression item. What are we going to get?
Honestly, okay, I wasn't going to call Titan's Mitts, but apparently they found Titan's Mitts. With that means that they can go into Misery Mire area, and Moon Pearl could be in Checkerboard Cave this seed. Which it looks like that is exactly what Malle is thinking.
Yeah, and depending on where keys are in Desert, this actually opens up Desert Palace for potential completion. They can't do the torch just yet, but they could maybe clear it if there's something useless there. So we'll have to see what's what. We get a check on the Mire Medallion, which is Quake, and it's going to duck into the Mire Shed to avoid the Murder Dactyl. Good choice. Those are terrifying, especially when you're just a bunny or a mushroom, as the case may be.
And looks like Malle is trying to get the Super Bunny glitch to work here. Unfortunately, do you know how it works, Sigma?
It's something about doing something on the frame you enter the room. I don't know it well enough myself. I never go for this because it's not in sequence. It looks like Malle is abandoning it now. Didn't manage to pull it off fast enough. It says, whatever, it's out of sequence. Let's check checkerboard and then maybe take a dip into desert.
And Viper has managed to escape from the dark room and has saved the old man. Hopefully, he is able to make up the time that he has unfortunately lost from there. But it looks like he might be heading back up that mountain. Nope, he is choosing to flute away now. That makes sense at this point.
Yep. I just want to say thanks to Elminster in chat pointing out you mirror on the same frame that you entered to get the Super Bunny glitch. So now we know. Alright, so I'm glad Viper King was able to escape from that trap in the darkness. And we'll see quickly from Malle the big keys on the torch. So while there could still be an item in here, we're not finishing this dungeon just yet. But the Hookshot is hanging out. That's pretty darn good. That's going to open up a lot of East Death Mountain.
Yeah, since they now have, I believe it's 7 chests from Paradox Cave and the one from the Spiral Cave. And if Malle does find the pearl up here, that then gives them also access to Hookshot Cave and Death Mountain Super Bunny Cave, which I think is a grand total of over 13 item locations.
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense to follow this path here right now. And the Super Bunny glitch for the Super Bunny Cave here on Death Mountain is considerably easier because all you do is fall down a pit, so they at least have those 2 Dark World locations available already. But we're going to see the Light World first. There's more stuff here. Makes sense to go for it, and we'll have to see what's what. Unfortunately, picking the wrong door. But soon we'll see what's what. Alright, so we'll see what Viper King is up to now. Looks like a check of the back of the escape, so that'll yield a sword, so that's pretty good. And then he'll eventually have to make his way over to Sahasrah's closet. Now, I hope he didn't forget about that, because I know sometimes you have a plan of maybe, like, I'll do Eastern, then Sahasrah, and then he skipped out of Sahasrah, so I hope it isn't in his mind as, like, I did Sahasrah already. There's nothing there. But we'll have to see. Still has other things to do, so that's good. But let's check out Malle. Going through Paradox Cave here, getting a lot of nothing on the left side, so we'll have to see. These are 2 chests have an answer. That's a Moon Pearl and $20, so that opens up a heck of a lot.
And it looks like Malle now going for the Paradox Cave bomb jump. This saves them just a little bit of time. Well, when it is set up and done properly, it allows them to save the time going through here, because now, unfortunately, Malle now has to go back to the entrance of Paradox Cave to be able to go up, though it looks like they're opting out and instead going straight to Dark World.
This actually makes a fair deal of sense. It's a good choice to bail out and do this, because they can check Super Bunny Cave on their way up, they can go into Hookshot Cave, and then they can just mirror to get Spiral Cave later on. So that's pretty good stuff, pretty nice route here. You know, maybe getting the bomb jump into checking Spiral Cave right away was what they originally intended, but this definitely works out. So we'll see a couple more mirror glitches to delete some blocks from existence, and then get a check of what's up here. And man, there's a lot of options for Malle at this point. Makes sense to clear out Death Mountain, but then basically got, well, I mean, not full Dark World access, lacking the hammer, but a lot of Dark World access.
Actually, since they have the flippers and Titansmiths, they can access all of Dark World at this point. It's just that their only entrance points really are north of Kakariko, Misery Mire, and the portal that they took to get up to Dark Death Mountain.
Oh yeah, of course. Okay, there's a quick Turtle Rock Medallion check. Unfortunately, I was not fast enough to actually see what it was, but Malle knows now, so that's good.
It apparently is Ether.
Nice, and I think that makes it a good time to shout out our tracker. Dude. Wait, I butchered that, but thank you. Dude. There you go. That was slightly better. I'm so sorry. You're the best. But alright, Hookshot Cave. What do we got? Nothing so far. Lots of arrow upgrades.
It looks like Hookshot Cave was just Capacity Cave this time.
Well, we can carry lots of these silver arrows. We can't shoot them, but we can carry them. Alright, and Viper King is now gonna farm that money for Zora, so unfortunately those potion buys are gonna hurt a little bit on this. They were useful at the time though, so I can't say it was a wrong thing to buy those potions, but we're gonna be in and out of this Thieves hideout, hut, den, cave, whatever you want to call it, for a little bit, grabbing these rupees. Malle is still making progress on Deathbound. We'll see what Spiral Cave was. Was the walk worth it? More capacity.
At this point, I think Malle is probably going to be heading over to Village of Outcasts. And the question then is, do they go up north and risk Pendant Skull Woods, or do they go into Thieves Town? I suspect they're probably going to do Thieves Town first, or I can be completely wrong and they're going to check the Mire area first again.
Oh yeah, they want to get those last two chests, I guess, from the Mire shed. That makes sense, get it out of their minds. I mean, having half-checked this area, you don't want to forget about those last two, so we'll see what we've got here. These two items, and, you know, of course it makes sense to do this because you're kind of in and out, and then these don't really get any faster to check, plus you someday have the boots. There's the lamp, so that's pretty useful. I would view that as fairly required this seed, because we know that they have to kill Aganim at some point, and the dark rooms in Aganim's tower are just completely horrible.
Yep, and it also will help. At this point, they are a medallion away from being able to clear Mire as well.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Having the Canis Samaria, having the hookshot to get across that first room, they just need to find Quake, and then that's an option. So lots of options, lots of dungeons open for Malle right now. We'll have to see what the decision's going to be. Maybe check out Pendant Skull Woods or just head back down. When you have the Titansmith, heading back down is not so painful, but it looks like we're going to be through. We're going to do Skull first. I don't mind this because maybe going into Thieves Town without the hammer, I mean, even though you know where it is, that can be a little annoying because you might leave something behind in that big chest. Man, that is a terrible revisit.
Yeah, that is true. The only saving grace is, like with Tower of Hera, that big chest could have the small key required to access it. But then again, you'd be gambling on that being the case or it having the map or compass in it.
Yeah. The other nice thing here is that if the two items in Skullwoods are found, and we got one already, then you won't have to actually go kill Mothula, because it's not too likely that the pendant is required. It's not even the green pendant. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Malle just maybe get both items and then dip out of the dungeon and not bother finishing it.
Right, and it is also quite possible that they'll just check effectively the front half of this room, maybe go to where the vanilla big key location is, and just opt to not worry about the moth because of the time sink, though they haven't found any items yet, but I think they're about to check the big chest.
Yeah. So, we'll have to see what we've got here. And it is the Bloomerang. Not the most useless item, but not a very useful item.
It is nice in things such as the standard vanilla speedrun, because you can use it to hit some crystal switches for a little bit of a time gain. But admittedly, if you haven't practiced that a lot, it unfortunately can become a large time loss trying to figure out the exact positions you need to be. And looks like we're getting a quick bumper cave check, which is just a piece of heart, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we have that knowledge now. Malle's going to be thorough, do the full North Dark World here, get over to Graveyard Ledge. This is never a fun location to check. You have to walk a long way over here to get it, but at least having the Titansmiths take the fast way up without doing the maze through the graveyard, and it never gets better than this, so get out of the way and then head into South Dark World will likely be the plan. Although, you know, they could continue over to like the catfish area, but that seems unlikely to me. I think they'll turn around and hit the Thieves Town.
Most likely, though, if they do choose to go to Catfish, I suspect they'll then head towards Pyramid, get that check out of the way, and probably, since they're there at that point, would probably risk dipping into Pod in hopes that it's not immediately boat locked.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially knowing that there are dependents on Eastern and Pod, you might never need to like come back to Pod. You might just need to visit there once to get something or other from that area, and then never be able to complete it until after you're already in GT. But he's gonna opt for the return to the Thieves Town area, the Village of Outcasts here, and we'll have to see what this part of the world yields for us.
Yep. Meanwhile, Viper King is heading up Tower of Hera, going towards killing Moldorm, I suspect. Unfortunately, not going to find anything here, but they will at least get their first crystal done.
Yeah, Viper King going for this bomb jump. Remember that Malle tried to set this up and missed it, and Viper King as well, a little bit too far away from the pit, takes the 2-floor fall, so we'll have to climb back up through the start of Tower of Hera. That's why sometimes you won't see people go for that if they don't have the boots, because it is a lot easier. You have more pixels to work with if you do a bonk before the bomb hits you. But, you know, here we are. It does definitely save time if you get it. Unfortunately, the fall can be a little painful.
Yeah. Especially because that fall, if it was just a one-room fall, it may not be as bad, but you fall down 2 floors, so you effectively negated at least a third of what you've done in this dungeon already.
Yeah, that's for sure. Alright, so we've got some Thieves Town from Malle coming up, and Viper King is going to go for this bomb jump again, and... oh, Tempered Sword right at the start of Thieves Town. That's pretty darn good. It has the setup. Will this bomb jump work? But no, too far away again. Takes the fall a second time. Man, that's kind of rough. Alright, so Malle's already picked up 2 of the Thieves Town items, Tempered Sword and then a Piece of Heart. So that at least has to make you feel a little bit better. The chances of something being in that big chest are reduced, but, well, it still could happen. So, to see what these next few items are yet. One of these 2 chests will be the big key, and this one is it. And then the other one, what are we going to get from this last first floor chest of Thieves Town? It's the compass. So, 2 items down, 2 items to go, hoping that one's not in the big chest. As Malle heads to the second half of Thieves Town. Viper King opting out of the bomb jump this time because he's had enough of that. And we'll just do the fall that, of course, Malle opted for as well.
Yeah, one other neat thing about right here, admittedly, unfortunately Viper King taking a fall, but that bumper that everything was bouncing up against, if you are just a little bit north of it, between the pit and the bumper, you can admittedly go right through it without bumping off, which can be a small time save.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I do like that one, but it can be hard to set it up, so not everyone goes for it. And of course, having to hit the switch makes sense to just walk around. But Malle making it through the Hellway now, doing some hook shots across the statues, so as to avoid some of the scary, horrifying enemies in there. And now we're soon approaching our next Thieves Town item. It's been a little while since we saw a chest in there, but we'll see what is up here next. And of course, Malle hoping to see an item, hoping perhaps not to see the small key, or worse yet, the map, which would confirm that there's something in the big chest, and it is an item, blue rupee, so that's good. 1 item left in Thieves Town, 3 locations remaining.
And Viper King using the Cane of Burna to make it a little bit easier to hit Moldorm.
Yeah, why not? That's a pretty good strat, actually. Just avoid the darn thing pushing you around. Just walk into it with the cane. Might as well. Embracing the magic nature of the seed, and you get a full magic refill here anyways, so Good idea. Now, unfortunately, Viper King, that's one item from Hera, so may have to go for the basement now, but could opt to say, you know, let's play a little crazy and skip it, because that is not the most fun location for sure. It is going to be checked, and hey, there you go. That's the last item from Thieves Town, and the small key is sitting in the small chest. Yeah, the big chest. And Blind will have the map. So that logic change that lets the small key lock itself is coming in handy in this seed. Man, I like this from Viper King as well, using the Kena Samaria to block off some of these blocks in Tile Room. Just not having to deal with, you know, walking around. Just gets to take a break over here on this side of the room. Getting good use out of all the magic items that they've gotten so far in this seed. Here's Malle's blind fight here, and is going to opt for the cane as well. You just turn it on and walk next to blind. That makes things nice and easy.
And with that, blind is down, and Malle has their second crystal.
Yep, so perfectly sensible play from this point with Titansmith and Mire is to head into South Dark World for Malle, eventually work over to Hype Cave, probably do the Blacksmith quest along the way. Lots of items this way, and it's pretty efficient. You can lump it all together. It's always super nice to be able to do this with the Mire, not have to do this once and then leave behind all the Mire spots for later. Alright, so what's Viper King up to here?
I'm wondering if they're going to try to get into Aganim with the Cane of Burna, but unfortunately, you can get past the barrier with the King's Cape. But the reason for that is it makes you intangible and lets you walk through objects. Unfortunately, the cane is going to keep bouncing them back.
Yeah, so that doesn't work. Also, without the lamp, it's perhaps fortunate that that doesn't work, because man, those egg and dirt rooms are rough. In the meantime, Malle had to do a lot of digs for it, but manages to find ether hanging out in the digging game. And that is a required item, because Turtle Rock does have that as its entry requirement. Alright, so Viper King sitting on the map here. I'm beginning to worry at this point that this is a matter of having forgotten Sahashila's back closet, which, as we know, holds the Titansmiths.
Yeah, hopefully they realize the location that they've forgotten shortly. Malle, on the other hand, returning the blacksmith to his brother, and I'm suspecting probably going to end up picking up the purple chest and then doing the classic Southern Death World run and getting 50 rupees for rescuing the blacksmith.
Yeah, pretty good investment there. Pay them 10, get 50 back. And now, nice efficient trek through the Dark World now for Malle. The only thing they have to leave behind is these hammer pegs and the magic bat, but we know where the hammer is, and, well, who knows where powder is.
Yep, and for those of you who missed it earlier, the hammer is on the Lumberjack Cave, so we will eventually be getting an Aganim seed. Malle, I suspect, is just waiting for boots before going to do that, because no real reason to go do it without the boots at this stage.
Yeah, that's exactly true. And hey, there's powder! Well, that's kind of annoying, because they could have done magic bat using the Mire, skipping that hammer block, but I guess maybe not the worst since you lose your Dark World portal. It's kind of a headache without the hammer, but now there's that one location left behind you have to think about. But anyways, Malle's gonna move on, finish this chest, check out Hype Cave, hopefully find the boots at some point, and then, you know, your path is clear from there. Do Ega, get the hammer, and then take your pick of which dungeon you want to do. You know, that's a pretty good philosophical question we have in chat there. How come the locked chest falls you off of the cliff, but the giant bomb won't? I think the chest is a lot more, you know, resistant to impact. If you jump with the bomb, then it might blow up, so you gotta leave it behind.
The way I always thought of it was you're clearly dragging the chest and the bomb around, but when you jump, you just end up pulling the basically pulling the trigger on it, similar to if you tried to dash.
That makes sense. Alright, so Hype Cave, what do we got today? A book? And the boots? That's pretty darn good.
Alright, so along with I suspect Malle is just going to go straight to Aganim from here because they are very close actually. Well, I'm sorry, first they'll take the purple chest back. But yeah, they'll probably be going to Aganim to get their hammer shortly. And with that, they also then can complete Desert Palace, since they now can get that big key that's on the torch.
Yeah, you can even, this is so convenient, you can also turn in the purple chest and then immediately check the Baubles tablet right next to you. It's so good.
And I just realized Malle is right now missing the bow, the ice rod, and Quake. And after that, they have go mode.
Yeah, and the bow isn't even guaranteed to be in the overworld. It could be hanging out in Ganon's tower, so it might be a play to just kind of semi-go mode after you find everything but the bow, and then, you know, maybe check the chests in the dungeons you're in, but check GT first. So, Malle, gonna flute, probably go do Aga now. Having the hammer is just way too valuable. So, Malle's heading up for that. Viper King is unfortunately at a bit of a loss, having forgotten Sahashal's back closet with the Titan's Mitts waiting. I think has probably checked everything else that's possibly available, but the Titan's Mitts are gating everything because that leads to the Hookshot in Desert, which leads to the Moon Pearl on Death Mountain, and that is going to basically mean Viper King's frozen until they manage to make it over to Sahashala again.
Yeah, and it is unfortunately the worst feeling having forgotten a location and thinking that you got it, which is more than likely what has happened because unfortunately that death in Eastern probably just reset what they were originally planning on doing, as you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it was in their plan to go for that, and then they forgot, and it's just like, ugh. We've all been there at least once with Rando. It doesn't feel good.
Malle making their way through Agnim's tower. One thing to note with the guards there, if you end up tanking against their sword or you have a sword beam go off, all the guards in the area will end up aggroing on you. But if you end up killing them without tanking on their sword or without shooting beam, you can still keep them in one-on-one combat without having them then charge you constantly.
Yeah. It's annoying too when you come in with sword beams and you throw a sword beam and that aggroes all the guards. You can just take a hit off one of the IBAT things if that's the case, but Malle tearing up Aga Tower here. Tempered Sword is pretty nice for killing all of these enemies.
And that fairy from that red guard was very timely because it allowed Malle to get full health.
Yeah, I don't think there was too much risk of dying, but it can be a little unnerving as you get to the top of Aga Tower and maybe like, fall into a pit once or twice, because this has got to be one of the worst places to take a death in the game. Maybe Cold Stare is close to as bad, but you don't want to climb all the way up here again. So we're getting into the Aga fight for Malle, and it's time for a fun little mid-race guessing game. How many blue balls are we going to see from Aga today? I'm going to take 4. What's your call?
I'm going to guess probably 3.
Alright, let's see what we got.
Yep, and for those of you who aren't aware, the first shot that Aganim does in each of his cycles is guaranteed to be a projectile that you can reflect, but the next 3 shots have a 50-50 shot of being either a reflectable projectile or blue balls like happened right there. The 5th shot of every cycle is guaranteed to be lightning, and then the cycle repeats. Though I may have those numbers wrong. It may be 3 shots and then 4th is lightning.
You got the gist of it anyways. It sounded all good to me. We've had 2 misfires so far, unreflectable shots. There's 3, so we'll see if Aga's nice from now on. And doing good so far. I think that's 4 hits in now, so we're getting close to the end. Oh, the 4th one. Aga's not nice today. One more hit looks like. Yo, I got it. Okay, so that's Aga done for Malle. Probably use this opportunity to check the pyramid and head immediately over towards that hammer. Actually jumped down from the pyramid. Maybe he checked the item already. I didn't actually see. Or maybe he's just like, I want the hammer now. Please give me the hammer. Alright, so Catfish coming up for Malle. Just, still going for some efficiency on these overworld checks, because, you might as well. You know where the hammer is, but the hammer is not required to head up here, so get this out of the way while you're close, and then get back to Lumberjack when you can.
Malle flew away and then deciding to save and quit. I'm guessing... I'm actually not sure what exactly. Oh, right, I'm sorry, Lumberjack Cave.
Yeah, probably was like, oh yeah, I'll come from Kakariko, and then it was like, oh wait, Sank's closer. Let's do that. Still going for that efficiency though. It's like, putting off getting the hammer because, it's not exciting. You know where it is. Let's get King's Tomb done first, and then probably Bonk Rocks as well on the way over. Actually, that same quit makes a ton of sense, because walking up to Kakariko, or from Kakariko, doesn't take you near King's Tomb or Bonk Rocks. And unfortunately, we have the bad news from Viper King. Could not remember the location that was missed, and decided to throw in the towel on this one, so... that's a, rough first race, but you go through this kind of thing with Rando. Like, it happens to everybody. You just forget something and you think you've done it, and then you're just like, what? Is this seed bugged? What's going on? But yeah, that's how it'll go sometimes, unfortunately. So, this is kind of just a victory lap for Malle at some point, but they do need to finish, so we'll play along with the rest of the seed. Getting kind of close to go mode now. As you were saying, we need to find the Ice Rod, we need to find Quake, and we need to find the bow at some point. But that's not too many items to go, and there's a lot of crystal dungeons that are open and completable. So I'm imagining that's what we're likely to see now. Maybe some swamp, some ice palace. I guess. Mire was the Quake, so probably not Mire. Desert Palace as well. That big key, accessible. All good options at this point.
Yep, and it looks like, it looks like they're going to be starting with Swamp, and that makes sense because out of all the dungeons, Swamp has 6 item locations. So if they're going to find one of their items, it is most likely going to be here for at least one of them, if not more.
Yeah, you run the potential of, even finding all 3 in Swamp and then go-moding the rest. If you go to, Desert, for example, you're not going to find everything there. You might find something there, but you're not going to find everything. So we'll get Swamp done. The only little downside to Swamp is that the left side takes forever. But we'll see if what route Malle opts to take. Of course, the most efficient way, if there is something on the left side that you're going to check, is to check it first and then head to the boss. But sometimes you can maybe gamble that there's nothing there and leave one item behind potentially, or even get lucky and have the map and compass be over there, and then you can count your items, go kill Argus, and say, okay, it's map and compass left. Good. But we'll have to see.
And at the same time, though, skipping the left side initially isn't bad in case... Oh, there's the ice rod, so that's beautiful. But sometimes skipping left side is not bad either, because if you have the big key in the backside of Swamp or on Argus himself, you'll likely have to come back in here anyway to double check what is in that big chest. Though, just like Tower of Hera and Thieves Town, that key could be locked in the chest itself.
Yeah, that's true. And, I don't really... I kind of anticipate, based on how Malle's played this so far, that it will be a left side check first. They've been pretty thorough in terms of things like going all the way over to the graveyard ledge, like not cutting corners, doing ice rod cave release, stuff like that, like making sure everything is checked off and done. So a left side first check is what I would expect, but you can always choose to route Swamp differently, so we'll have to see what happens. And getting that ice rod as well is pretty darn nice, because Turtle Rock has of course you want to do Turtle Rock last, so you're already on Death Mountain, and you can just walk over to Ganon's Tower, but it has a lot of items in it, and its go mode is really not much faster than its check everything mode, so Turtle Rock is a pretty good choice to go maybe looking for the bow or Quake after this. And we are going to get a full clear of the left side. Alright, so, I like the rando guessing games. We'll have the Ganon's Tower Big Key one later. We had the Aganim Blue Balls one this game, but I want to get some people's thoughts. Where's Quake gonna be? Which chest? And where's the bow gonna be? What do you think?
Personally, I'm going to guess that the bow is going to be in Palace of Darkness big chest, just because that seems like the second cruelest place it could be. The worst place it could be is going to be Ganon's Tower tile room, but I'm going to hope that's not the case for the bow. As for Quake, I'm going to say probably in Ice Palace, the vanilla big key chest for the Quake one.
Alright, sounds pretty reasonable. Sounds pretty reasonable to me. Alright, I'm going to take my bet. I'm going to put Quake in Mimic Cave. And I'm going to throw the bow on the torch in GT. It's going to be a little toasty. So left side's cleared, nothing there. Not too surprising. I mean, it's good to get it out of the way, but at this point, there's a lot of locations and not too many items that we'll actually be excited about. So we've got to just hang out for a bit and go through the sea of 20 rupees that awaits us. Now the real dream is that these next two chests just have the items we need, and we get just the really long go mode through like 5 dungeons. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, admittedly, it is great when you end up having go mode as early as possible, especially with dungeons like Ice Palace left, because you can then just do the standard NMG strat, use Ice Palace bomb jump, and skip through most of the dungeon.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's so nice going into ice, not having to do the right side, not having to check the iced tea room. It's super good. It in Swamp, like Swamp's left side and right ice's, non-go mode parts, I suppose, are definitely some of the more painful ones. Things like Mire or Turtle Rock are not changed a huge amount by being in go mode or not, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised to see ice maybe get avoided for a little bit. Though there is, of course, always that motivation. You can full clear ice, and maybe you get to lump your trip up Death Mountain to going to GT after you finish TR. So lots of options, lots of choices that Malle can make. But they've played, pretty efficient so far. It's been pretty nice, and we'll just have to wait and see on these last couple items.
Yep, and they have made short work of Argus's puffballs, and with 2 spins of the tempered sword, Argus goes down.
Yep. Unfortunately, Argus just had a little bit of lunch money, so nothing that we're actually looking for, but Swamp's clear. Got the ice rod out of it. I'll have to see what Malle's next decision will be. Which dungeon? Ice, Turtle Rock, Desert. I'm gonna go for a save and quit, which unfortunately, having killed Aga will just take us to the pyramid.
Yeah, that is one thing, even after you've played Randomizer for months, that you can easily forget, because so often you don't kill Aganim, so when you save and quit in Dark World, you still go back to Light World. The only time that you end up restarting on that pyramid is if you have killed Aganim 1, you have the Mire, and you save and quit out of Dark World.
Yep. Here's a bit of a shopping trip for Malle. Not a bad idea. You get those blue potions. It can help out a lot, like especially if you're going into Ice Palace. Having extra fire rod shots potentially on Cold Stare could be nice. And we're seeing a trip up Death Mountain, so looks like Turtle Rock is the play. We're gonna get those 5 items in Turtle Rock. I think everything else on Death Mountain is checked, with the exception of Spike Cave, but if that does get visited, it'll probably be after Turtle Rock's done.
Right, and the other place that just reminded me is Ether Tablet is still open as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, because we didn't have the book on the first visit up here. Good memory. Now, I know, having come from the Key Sanity tournament over the last few months, everybody was always a little afraid of that horrible lava room chest in Turtle Rock that could really just ruin all of your runs, but this, back to standard, and life is good because we don't have to go searching the world for our keys, we can just open it and find the big key in there or whatever. Not have to come back 20 minutes later, ripping our hair out.
Yep, and at the same time, just like in Key Sandy mode, if you're in Go mode in this dungeon, you can still skip that chest as long as you have found the big key already. If you haven't found that yet, you still can't skip that chest because, honestly, by that point, if you don't have it, it has to be in there.
Yeah, that's a great point because, you know, when you are in Go mode, the best you can get from it is a 1-for-1 on the small keys, so things are a little more efficient if you just leave it behind. We'll have to see what the arrangement of items is for Malle. And get a small key first. That'll lead us... Well, if we had come here without the fire rod, that could have led us deeper fire rod less into Cardinal Rock, which can always be funny, but we've had that fire rod since the very beginning of the game, so that was never a thought. Actually, for a moment there, I was thinking to myself, wait, was I right? Did they get the fire rod for the escape? Didn't they have the Cane of Samaria? And I remembered, of course, yes, we did get the fire rod, and we also got the Cane of Samaria during the escape.
Yep, and Malle both getting a good, quick hook shot off of the torch room in there, and using the blue cane and Pegasus boots in combination to item dash through those spike bars, which saves both a bit of time and makes it a lot safer to go through.
Yeah, that's for sure. Since there's that full magic there, I mean, you might as well, rather than getting beat up by those rollers. Malle taking out that pokey. Now we get to the old chain chomp room. Fortunately, the left chain chomp deciding not to walk over and block the first couple cane shots, but will jump over and bite Malle in the face. I hate this room, man. I hate this room.
Yeah, the one thing with the chain chomps is you either have to get good practice at being able to do it very quickly, or learn how to bait them so that they get out of your way long enough that you can push that block. Sometimes going for the safety ends up being worth it more than the speed for that room. But they did get the big key chest, so I would probably suspect that they're still going to get the small key from here and check the chest over the lava bridge, which they indeed are.
Of course, you know, we mentioned how you could skip this if you're in Go mode, but of course, if you're not in Go mode, don't skip it, because hey, there's Quake. That was required.
So, Malle now has all the items required to clear all of the crystal dungeons, but they do still need to find the bow in order to traverse Ganon's tower, because there are 2 rooms in the gauntlet that are locked behind red mimics, which can only be killed with arrows.
Yeah, and this is sort of a nice situation, but sort of not the nicest situation, because at this point you're thinking, okay, where's that bow? I mean, it could be in GT. I could go clear all of the overworld and find absolutely nothing, and have to go do GT anyways. In this situation, what do you think? How do you think you'd play this legality?
I would most likely clear the dungeons that aren't bad to full clear, such as get Mire out of the way, since Malle's here, finish up Turtle Rock, including Mimic Cave, like they're going to right now, clear up Desert, basically put off going into Ice Palace for a full clear as long as possible. Because if I can skip most of Ice Palace, that would be the goal. The one good thing to note, though, is that because Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness are pendants, it is not possible for the bow to be on the pedestal. So unless Malle thinks that the boss of one of the pendant dungeons might have an item on it, there is no reason to clear any of those bosses.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. So we'll get at least some overworld done, you know, or overworld rather, some dungeon clearing done. Hopefully the bow will show up. It'd be just great if, you know, Desert or Mire led to the bow, because those dungeons aren't going to really get sped up so much by being in Go mode or not. Then we wouldn't have to go all the way through ice, but we'll see what we get. Might at some point you know, oh, well, uh-oh. Uh-oh. You can do some like cane dash shenanigans here to kick that block up there, but
Admittedly, what Malle can also do is, since they ended up entering from the big key or big chest entrance, they wouldn't lose much time if they ended up just needing to mirror, because it's just that big chest room, the spike bar room, and then the lava room to get back up here. So it wouldn't be too long to get back.
yeah, looks like that's going to be the choice. Now, they're a bit low on magic, but they did the shopping trip, so they have some blue potions, and if they do run out of magic before, you know, the basement, then it'll be fine. They can just drink a blue potion. But it looks like it's going to be Hookshot to deal with the switch, which I guess will already be down, so... Oh, alright. You just wanted to let the boomerang feel included in this run. That was what that was all about.
Admittedly, as you do a bunch of randomizer runs, you start getting muscle memory, and in that room, you more often than not need to hit that switch. So when you end up entering in again without needing to, you just have your muscle memory go in and you still hit the switch, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think that one of the classic examples of that is when you don't have to flip the switch in Mire before you find the big key, and then you head to the basement, you go flip the switch, walk into the next room, and then turn around and go back and flip the switch again.
And Malle is now coming up to Laser Bridge and choosing to use Blue Cane to get by. Unfortunately, they keep on starting and then stopping Blue Cane right away, which actually uses up a lot more magic than simply just walking by, because it costs about 16 units of magic to activate the cane, but only 1 magic per tick while it's running.
Yeah, fortunately having those blue potions means they're able to just drink 1. No big issue, and is on towards Trinex now. Now, admittedly, I didn't keep a great count of items in this dungeon, so I don't know if Trinex still has something of interest, or if it's just going to be the map or compass, but we'll get to find out soon.
Oh, Malle using the dash strats on Trinex. So this allows you to get behind Trinex and not bounce back nearly as far as you're hitting the first head, which does allow you to kill it just a little bit faster than if you waited for it to come out.
Yeah, unfortunately the ice head was being pretty rude and managed to get a bunch of that, you know, garbage on the floor, so Malle had to slip around a little bit. Down to 3 health now, but should be okay on this last phase. Could be a little scary, but we'll avoid the ice, play it safe, get Trinex baited to go in some nice circles, and there goes that turtle. Malle done with that dungeon. And what was that item? Let's see. A shield. Yay.
Admittedly, though the level 1 shield isn't as useful, I will say when I can get the level 2 shield, the fire shield, it actually does help more often than you would think because of all the magic fireballs, especially that occur in Gauntlet.
Yeah, that last room before you get to Landmo, where there's the ice and the fireball shooter in the corner, that fire shield can be pretty handy there. Alright, so Malle heading over to East Death Mountain. We've got Ether Tablet and Spike Cave waiting for us over here, so we'll see. Looks like both of those. Well, at least Ether Tablet. And then off to the next dungeon. I'm thinking the having just gotten Quake, the Mire Desert duo makes a lot of sense.
And just some magic rupees from the Ether Tablet. And Malle using a nice little trick. If you're carrying an item when you go through a Dark World portal that was generated from the Mire, you do not get ported. So that allowed them to just walk over the portal and not have to waste time with the transition at a point that they didn't want it to occur.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Although, I mean, they were going to the Dark World anyways. But hey, it was good nonetheless. So hookshotting through Spike Cave here is going to opt for Burna at the end just to make sure there's no untoward deaths happening while lifting this rock. That's never fun. And is this the bow? Well, it's red mail. That's not the bow, but it's still kind of nice to get. And then I mean, this one is unavoidable. You kind of just have to save quite out of Spike Cave in that situation. But once again, here we are on Pyramid, mirroring and including.
Looked like accidentally hitting left 3 times rather than, I'm sorry, right 3 times rather than left, but they are making their way over towards Mire, it looks like. Nope, they are doing desert first.
This makes some sense because desert, I mean, they know they have to go bonk that key. They know there's still an item hanging out in desert, so it's faster to just check that big chest and then go finish desert than, you know, maybe go into Mire and potentially have to sit through that that cutscene for the vanilla big key chest. If they just find the bow here, maybe they get to skip that. So, what are we gonna get? I'm betting it's gonna be the compass or something. I don't remember which one of those we saw before, but
I think this has to be the small key. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Of course, because it was just the hookshot in the first chest. I was thinking, oh, we got the small key and we found the hookshot over there. But no, you're right. Found the hookshot in that first chest. So a little bit longer of a trip. What is over in Right Side Desert for us today? Hopefully a bow, but it's probably not.
Probably not, but admittedly, I think Malle's probably hoping that both items are here just to get that out of the way, and the first item is the cape.
I had to think back for a moment, but Bumper Cave is just a piece of heart, so that cape is likely just to sit in the inventory and look pretty for a little bit. Can be nice for Ganon, though. Much better invincibility item than the Keen of Burna for that fight. Nice key dash setups there for Malle, of course. Just walking along the bottom of that room lets you start a dash and turn up and then get through the door without bonking on it. Probably see another one coming up here where you bump along the side of one of these unlit torches or whatever you want to call them. No, I'm just gonna walk up and open the door. I lied. I'm sorry I deceived you all. No, I was thinking of asking the question. Well, how is Malle gonna fight Landmo? Which items? Will they use silvers or will they use the fire rod? And you know, of course, the fire rod makes a lot more sense because they don't have the bow.
Yeah. The one good thing is that thankfully the Lambolts do die from 2 tempered sword spins because that's the equivalent of gold sword damage, which is, I believe, the same as what the fire rod shots do to Lambolts.
Yeah, I think you're right. So that's another dungeon out of the way. Next up, likely a Mire check. I suppose, now this would be an unfortunate place for the bow, but Pyramid Fairy's open now as well, since Hera and Turtle Rock were those 5/6. But of course it makes much more sense to do these crystals that you're going to have to do no matter what, than to go back and, you know, go back to the overworld now. Oh, the portal! It was just a bit too far to the edge, so Malle's gonna have to flute, and re-enter the Dark World there, but not a big deal. It's pretty quick to get back here to Mire now.
Now, what I'm more wondering is, will Malle decide to swap over to the Hookshot, or use the Pegasus boot dash to be able to get over that first bump?
Yeah, I think the dash is a little faster, but I admit to not actually being sure, and it looks like Hookshot's going to be the choice. Switching back to Ether to use on these Wizard-Ups here, so we'll see this kill set up here. Sword Beams on the first two, manages the Sword Beam down that Wizard-Up as well, and Ether as they all spawn on the top. That is a pretty cool way to do it. Oh, but the middle one is like, no, I'm not going to die, so I have to wait for it to spawn again, but pretty nice Mire introduction there, and now on to the searching. So, if you watched or participated or played, any Key Sanity, you may know Mire has a whole bunch of really useless small keys all over the place because there are a lot of doors that you never open. There's no items behind the randomizer. There's no reason to go there. You can be perfectly fine on keys from Mire with the guaranteed ones from enemies, but there's 3 keys hanging out in the Mire chest, so you generally get a pretty large collection here, as we have 2 keys in the first 2 chests we check, plus one of those guaranteed keys, so we can open tons of extra doors, whatever we want, but nothing useful yet just now. Now, an interesting thing I learned, although it's kind of just some useless trivia here, this chest that Malle is opening right now, because that's a small key. Now, this is convenient that it's a small key because I checked this earlier. The vanilla big key chest is going to be the big key in this situation because one of the locations you can waste the key in this dungeon is in the basement, and you require the big key first to be able to go waste the key there. So, when the big key is elsewhere in the dungeon, there can't be an extra small key over here. They all have to appear in chests elsewhere. But because there was a key here, we know the big key is coming up in the next chest, so there's no mystery, and the only mystery is remaining of what the 2 items are in other chests in this dungeon. I have no idea how this knowledge is useful, because you generally check these chests one after another, but hey, why not?
So more than likely, the next chest Malle is going to check is the one on the bridge. And then unless that has an item, they'll probably head over towards, I'm going to guess, big key chest, and then the small chest right after the big chest before Vitreous.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, we've got the compass. Still nothing has shown up. We have 2 items in Mire waiting for us. We found all the keys. If we find the map next, Mire's just messing with us and says, no, you have to wait to find out what's actually in here. Here's one of those useless doors that you don't need to open, but it's faster, of course, if you have this bunch of keys. Okay, we got a bee in a bottle. Better than the map, but oh boy. Finding a lot of nothing, pretty much. That's what you would expect. Odds are we won't find the bow for quite a while, but it could be right here, and it's not.
Alright, so it looks like Vitreous is holding our last item hostage.
In some situations, not having the bow for Vitreous can be pretty annoying, but the Tempered Sword is a great weapon to fight Vitreous with, so I think Malle will do pretty well. Could see a variety of strats. With this amount of health, may just go for damage boosting into the whatchamacallit, the goo, with some spins. Could use the cape and dash through the eyes a couple times. You know, either of them is pretty fast, so we'll have to see what Malle opts for. I don't imagine we'll have really any problems with this. We're gonna get a cane dash in this room. I really like this strat here. You can... Okay, never mind. It's not gonna happen, but you can place a block at the bottom of this room and then start a cane dash up the left side, and you'll keep up with the shot that's lined up with the crystal switch. It's a little bit faster, but you know, you don't practice every strat in rando, and of course, there's many times when you come into this room without the boots and you don't have the opportunity to do it. So. Mire wrapping up soon, Malle, and we'll be on to fight some eyeballs. Looks like Cape Dash is the method of choice. This takes them all down pretty quick, back and forth a couple times. Of course, this is considerably better with the gold sword, because you do twice the damage. But that takes all the eyes but one out, and we'll just have to give that one little poke from the sword, and then a couple slashes at Vitreous itself, the big eye. This phase can be a little annoying. It has so much health, even with the tempered sword. This is where you really want the bow, but Malle taking it down, gets that eye beaten up. My gosh, it has so much health, and there it goes.
And it has a vanilla heart container.
So I think we're getting onto that territory that we wanted to avoid. It's time for Ice Palace as the last crystal dungeon, and non-go mode Ice Palace. Ugh. We'll see if Malle opts to go straight there. I think in this situation I probably would. I'd probably leave the overworld and just do the dungeon, but we'll see. Malle fluting to 8 would indicate Ice Palace, and indeed, Ice Palace. Here we come.
And hopefully they are able to find the bow in here, because otherwise it becomes a question of check the remaining overworld locations, check the, really check Palace of Darkness, because they have gone through all of Eastern Palace. I don't
did Malle ever go to Eastern? I can't remember now either.
So Malle, I can't remember, but they may have only gone into Skull Woods, and I believe they only did that first room section, so they didn't check the back, and they didn't go towards Moldorm either. So hopefully they find the bow as soon as possible, and don't have to start gambling of where is this.
Yeah. If I were running this seed, personally, I would finish Ice with a full clear, and then I'd just go to GT and hope it's in there. But that can be really painful, because that's a lot of extra Death Mountain climbs if it actually is in one of these pendant dungeons somewhere. And, you know, having not visited Pod at all, and, well, we don't know. Malle might have done Eastern way back when, and we just forgot, but maybe all the Eastern locations Malle's got to think about as well. That's a lot of stuff, but I don't know. We'll see what they opt for.
Malle getting the nice quick kill on those Stalfos there. Thankfully, the way that they seem to work in this game is as long as one of them is in the down state, all Stalfos that are hit with a bomb blast are killed, because it considers all of them to be in that bomb state.
Yep. And we see Malle opting not to bomb jump here, which makes sense, because when you have to full clear the dungeon anyways, that bomb jump doesn't save a ton of time. It's of course nicer if you manage to find the big key first, but like when you're gonna check every chest, you will just be able to big key your way down to the basement, so no big deal there. He's gonna opt to go to the left here first, maybe trying to find a key in this freezer room before, you know, heading over to the right side without having to do the drop down in the hookshots to the jelly room. So Let's see what we get. Ice is always a fun place to route. It's an arrow upgrade. That's useless. Get a trip into Ice Tea now, and then we'll be up into probably. I guess after Ice Tea, probably follow the way back up, go north through the Penguin Freeze Spike Room, whatever you want to call it, and then check the right side of Ice Palace unless the bow shows up now. Oh, well, there's the big key. That'll be good on the second pass down. Big chest check, assuming we don't find the other couple items over on the right.
Right, and admittedly, it's also good that they did find that big key before finding the bow, because they do have, unfortunately, they do have to find the big key since they didn't choose to do the bomb jump.
Yeah, that is true. So we'll get a couple chests here. This is nice. This is pretty dense. This kind of right side, I guess, of Ice Palace, this area that we're coming up to, but it is kind of slow to get here. So this is why you want to try to go mode Ice Palace. This is why Malle left it for last. And we are all hoping for that bow, unless you're a mean person. In which case you are probably hoping that the bow's somewhere terrible, like Pod. But we're all hoping for that bow. And it was just keys. Over on that right side.
Well, at least at this point, I think the remaining chests should have items in it. Oh, nope. Apparently the map is still missing. And lo and behold.
You summoned that one, I think. But now we're ready. Big chest and what's his face? Cold Stare. That's gonna have some stuff. Got the red meringue. That's never gonna see any use. Sometimes somebody will throw one of those out when they don't already have the blue boomerang in its spot, but it's showing up a little too late if it wanted to participate in this seed.
Yeah, the one good thing with the boomerangs, though, is the hookshot is not able to stun the Gibdos, the mummy enemies, but you can use the boomerang to stun them if they're giving you trouble in things such as the Skullwoods room right before the vanilla big key chest, or even during Ganon's tower.
Yeah, it can be pretty handy there. I hope... Okay, good, this is still a blue potion. Whew! I was a tiny bit scared, but Malle knew what was up. He's gonna let the bee out on Cold Stare. The bee, I think... Wait, it actually damages Cold Stare? Oh my gosh. I never knew that. I thought bees only hit Mothula.
I also was not expecting that, since I thought it did fighter sword equivalent damage.
Maybe because it's a golden bee, it's better? I don't know.
But the bee is just so happy that Malle has their final crystal. Now, will they go risk doing some pendant dungeons, risk overworld, or risk going straight into Ganon's tower?
Yeah. I'm gonna take a guess here. I'm gonna say shopping trip first, which is why they let the bee out, and then Ganon's tower. And then we hope that it's there. But Link's house... Okay, not purple chest, my goodness. The other thing that follows you around, the bomb.
And admittedly, since they have killed Aganim 1, they can pick up the bomb, Mire, and then take the portal in the castle, skipping the entire Hammerpeg bridge.
Yeah, it's really convenient. It's a lot faster this way. Of course, you know, if you're not forced to kill Aga for another reason, You never get to take advantage of this, but hey, when you are, why the heck not? I don't think there's much overworld left for Malle at all after this. Like, having had the Mire for long before having visited the Dark World, I feel like almost everything did get checked. Trying to rack my brain. I don't think Magic Bat was checked because of where Powder showed up, but there can't be that many overworld locations remaining aside from this.
The only ones that come to mind are admittedly both right there, Magic Bat and Hammer Peg.
Oh yeah, that's right. So that is 2 items. And I could save a lot of time if the boat is in one of those, but we'll have to see what Malle opts for. Will they clean up the overworld completely, or is it time for just heading to GT, knowing that there's all these pendant dungeons waiting that might have the bow, but, might not? It's going to be the trip to the witch first, and then we'll have to see the next flute destination.
And talking to the witch's assistant there does give you a sample of red potion, which is a full heal if you should ever need it.
Yeah, it's pretty handy stuff there.
And looks like it is the Ganon's Tower play.
Alright. Well, you know what time that means it is. It's guessing game time.
There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower that could have the big key. The question is, which one do you guys think it will be?
You also get points in this guessing game if you guess the location of the bow correctly. So I'm gonna throw mine out there. I'll go with big key on 7, and the bow is in here. It's in chest 14.
I'm going to go with bow. I'm going to go with big key will be, I'll say it's something simple. It will be chest number 3. But I'm going to say bow is in chest 23. The big chest. The one that nobody checks.
Man, that's something special right there, and we do have the potential for it. Man, that's going to be good. Although, here's the question. I mean, I'll give you points for if it's either 23 or the big chest, but what if they checked the big chest before Tyler?
Then, I credit them because nobody likes checking that tile room.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. And of course, there's always the bow is in pod, the seat is awful. We'll find out that in about, 5 minutes once the basement of Ganon's Tower is cleared.
Admittedly, there is also still the chance that the bow could be in Skull Woods, because when they were in there, they got keys, maps, and compasses, but they only got one of the 2 items.
Could be nasty as well. Alright, so Malle gets a key from that first room on the right side, and we'll be able to head over to check these 4 chests coming up here. It's interesting seeing the routes that different players will take to Ganon's Tower. And everything ends up being fairly similar in terms of clearing the basement. But I did some segment timing on this because I was curious after playing so much Key Sanity and, not really having to do this section very much. Coming back to Standard, I was like, what is actually the best? And this route right here, where you go to the right room and then get a key and follow through to the right, is actually the best one. Just very slightly. Its average pace is faster than going to the left first, or checking the right room and then going over to the left. Interesting enough, the second best is check the first 2 in the right room, don't get a key, and then go left. So, either way you do it, the way that you're seeing here from Malle is the statistically best way to play Ganon's Tower Basement. But of course, since they're all close, you can take gambles and try different routes to beat out your opponent. That kind of race mentality comes in, but it's fun stuff to think about.
Yep, and with 300 rupees being on the torch, Malle is going to skip it. If they get to the room right above Ice Armos...
Man, okay. Things lagged. Okay, it was the bow in there. It lagged right when it opened up and I didn't see it, but then I heard the slashes and I was like, oh man, that was something.
Alright, well, they have the bow at least, so now it is just finding that big key.
And which chest was that? That was 6 on the right. We'll count the torch as 7, so that was... Chest number 8 had the bow. So I was way off.
As was I.
I think that's 13 now on the fire bars being opened. And there's that boomerang strat you were mentioning earlier, using that to flip the switches.
You can also use it for these two here, but it is a little bit trickier, so I can fully understand using the cane. It just is, the cane's more consistent, and it's not that much of a time loss.
Yeah, I think you're saving definitely less than a second with that boomerang strat in that room, and if you miss it, of course, then you're losing all kinds of time. Hey, there's bombos. Not too useful this seed. Now we're getting into the random room.
And Malle enjoying the fact that they have over 30 bombs, just dropping them in each of these rooms.
Yeah, those capacity upgrades have got to be good for something. Oh gosh, the bug net. Oh, are we fighting Ice Armos? No, we're not! That's the big key.
Alright, from here, it is basically just execution for Malle, because they have everything that they need. The only upgrade they could really get that could help them would be getting the golden sword, but I honestly don't think they'll check any of the chests for it.
Yeah, I feel like if you had actually 100% of the seed, then you might take a look at a couple of the top gauntlet chests, try to find that gold sword, but it's way more likely at this point that it's hanging out in pod, so, or something along those lines. So checking no chests whatsoever makes perfect sense for the remainder of the gauntlet. Although, of course, there is always the potential of, you know, finding half magic or heart, but yeah, Malle doesn't need that. There's a neat trick in this room. If you actually fall, if you get knocked off like that, or you can just opt to walk off right at the beginning, you can just dash straight through because you'll have invincibility frames from the pit that will let you not get knocked back at that point. But Malle makes it through there okay. Is on pretty low health, is going to opt for some ether action, doesn't want to mess with these Stelphos, so just going to give him the business with that, but not the best health or magic count, though Malle did do the shopping trip, so he's in no shortage of blue potions. And we might see one get used in the gauntlet here, because these next few rooms can be a little nasty sometimes. Nice job on the conveyor room there, though. Coming into the final room before Ice Landmo. No, Landmo 2.
I'm sorry, you just put in a terrifying thought.
Yeah, this is not Randomizer. We don't have Ice Landmo waiting for us anywhere. Gets 2 of those Landmo down quickly with silvers and finishes off the last one with a spin and a slash, having got 1 slash in the first cycle. He's gonna bust out that red potion and make sure that no gauntlet deaths happen here. Not a bad decision at all.
Using the cane to make quick work of those whiz rogues. I'm not sure. Hopefully they have enough magic for this room.
Yeah, oh, well, we'll finish these last few off with the sword. Hey, that's convenient.
Actually, that very good timing since Malle needs a bunch of magic for this next room to light all 4 of these torches, and then the next 4 torches, though there is another full magic refill guaranteed in between these 2 torch rooms.
Yeah. Oh, taking a fallen will opt to reset this room. That's a good decision. I don't think it would be very easy to make it to the door at that rate, so we'll just come back, do the torches lighting again, going with the intentional fall that time to get back to the start. We'll see a fire rod toss over here, and then Malle could go up the stairs right away here, but he's going to opt to go for the top of the room, both to get these refills, and because if you go up these stairs on the same frame that the previous room's torches unlight, then you get a sprite despawn glitch, which makes you have to redo the entire tower. And that's horrifying.
Yeah, something similar can also happen in Ice Palace, where if you end up going down the steps at the same time that the last of the jellies in that second room dies and the door ends up opening, it causes the same state to occur.
Oh, I actually had no idea about that one. Thanks for letting me know. Of course, that doesn't sound nearly as bad because you're like 3 rooms into Ice Palace. But that's interesting stuff. Here goes Moldorm 2. Malle making quick work of it with that Tempted Sword, and having nothing to get will actually give a little bit of attention to this last chest, maybe expressing his feelings towards a bow and GT. The old up the stairs, down the stairs, throw bomb. And now, dashing through this last room, and we'll be on to Aga 2 and Ganon. Oh, and we're gonna get a bug net Aga 2.
Dash Bugnet Aga 2 at that.
Okay, that's pretty sick. Got 2 hits in already with it too, so this is not bad at all. What will we get with this position? Is that a double? Or did those stack? I can't even tell.
I think it was a little too close to... Yeah, it was a little too close together. Just one more hit, though.
Got all 3 to hit on that cycle. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. It's one of the most fun Aga 2s I've ever seen.
Now, if only you could catch Bat Ganon in the bug net.
Man. Normally Mothula sees you come in with some bees in the bottle, let them out, and Moth's like, okay, well this hurts a bit, but it's not too bad. You just show up there, let out Ganon's bat form. Holy smokes. But that might backfire on you. I think they might team up. I don't really want to fight Ganon in Mothula's room. Oh, this is a great spawn for the second phase of Ganon here. Top right corner, you can just stand here inside the fire ring and get your spins, so phase 2 is going to be over as it begins. Trying to net dash out of the corner, but unfortunately gets hit by the fire bat, but I appreciate the effort. And on to phase 3 now. Just has to deal with a couple of these Ganon teleports. Get a couple hits in and advance on to phase 4. Health's a little low, but it generally becomes a lot easier to dodge everything Ganon throws at you after phase 2's done.
Yep, and it especially helps that Malle does have silver, so they don't have to worry about killing him with charged sword spins.
Yep, is able to get 1 hit off on that first position and still get a torch glitch set up. Oftentimes players won't care too much about a torch glitch with silvers, but hey, if you can do it, why not? So that's 2 hits with silvers, 2 more to go. Oh, there's a fire bat here, so this is nice, gets the dodge. Pause menu. Unfortunately misses the arrow, but now only 1 silver remaining and Ganon will be down. Gets Ganon stunned in the middle of the room, gives him the 360, and then tosses that arrow into the pig, and that will do it.
And we have Malle finishing with an official speed racing TV time of 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 22 seconds.
GG, Malle. Thanks for playing, as the seed says. Well played. And we've got Malle hopping into the waiting room, so looks like we get a post-race interview underway relatively soon.
Malle, congratulations on your run.
Or we may be joined by a Malle soon, but audio is, Discord how it is sometimes.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, you tell.
I was just gonna ask where Viper King actually got stuck.
Okay, so what happened was he went to Eastern relatively early and did Eastern before Sahasrahla, and then took a death in the dark room, went back in, and we figure that his plan was to finish Eastern, then walk down and check Sahasrahla after, perhaps, but ended up saving quitting from there and then never going again Titansmith, which was pretty tragic.
Oh, that is unfortunate, yeah.
So what did you make of that seed? A hammer sitting on Lumberjack there.
Well, I mean, at least it had the courtesy to tell me where it was. Rather than the hammer on Lumberjack, I was really not pleased with the bow location.
Yeah, that was quite something. We saw the dependence on Eastern and Pod and said, well, it hardly ever happens that Ganon's tower has the bow, but now it's possible, and oh goodness, there it was.
Go figure. I was like, okay, I'm probably, if it's not in the dungeons I have to clear anyway, maybe I'll check Pyramid Ferry, and then I'll just go to GTA and say, hey, there's a lot of chests here, maybe it's here. And sure enough.
Hello.
Hey, we're joined by Viper King as well, who
Hey, man.
got the rando experience at its fullest, unfortunately.
GG.
GG. I heard what happened. Happens to the best of us sometimes.
Yeah, this is probably like my first tournament ever, and I have no idea where to go look for the next item, right? So.
Yeah.
Once you get into that situation where you think you've done something, and it's like, okay, well, I've checked everything, there's nothing to progress. Do I go back through every location? Because you just don't remember at that point. It's just brutal. We've all been there, so I feel for you, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
So Malle, you've taken down your first race, going 1-0 into the second round of Swiss. How are you feeling about your chances in the tournament so far? Like, are you looking to get to bracket or just get a good record in the Swiss rounds? What are your thoughts?
I think getting to bracket would be nice. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that, just because it's really unpredictable who I'm going to match up against. And there are a lot of really good racers in the Swiss rounds, so it's very possible I just get knocked out here. I'm going to try my best to actually get to the brackets, but I don't know. We'll say cautiously optimistic, I guess.
Yeah, well, you definitely played well in this race. I liked your routing. Like, execution was pretty solid, so it's all good stuff, and I wish you the best of luck in your coming races.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And sorry you had some trouble, Viper. I hope your next one goes a lot better.
Yeah. So for the next race that I'm gonna be doing, there's that one spot that I gotta check, and it's that friggin' hideout.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyways, GG.
GG.
Yeah, the good news is you'll never forget it again.
Exactly.
So I'll throw a similar question your way, Viper. What are you
Yes.
thinking, your odds are in this tournament? Like, are you looking to just like go for 50-50 in Swiss? You gonna try to like just win as much as you can, see how it goes? What are you expecting?
I'm thinking of trying to do my best. Like, I don't care what my odds are, because this is my first tournament. So if I do good, I do good. If I do bad, I do bad. It's just as simple as it is, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to your next race as well. I thought you played pretty well. It's just like, that location thing, that'll get you. There's nothing you can do about it sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, though, I didn't actually think that you can actually use a map tracker during these tournaments. So if I would have known that from the start, I would have actually used it.
Oh yeah.
Oh
you
yeah,
can-
definitely. Because you can't use one that reads your emulator's memory and tells you what is accessible for you. But if it's manually done, like the map updating is by you clicking it, then that's perfectly a-okay. Because it's pencil and paper can do that as well. So.
Is there a link that you could probably put it on here that I can actually use?
I would personally, I could recommend Googling or going to Cross Products Twitch page has a link to his tracker, which I know is one of the map trackers that people will use. I'm sure there's lots of options out there, which I don't have all handy, but I can at least point you towards that one.
Yes, and at the same time, for anyone else who's also looking for a tracker, the Link to the Past Randomizer Discord has a resources channel that has a link to, I believe, a bunch of different trackers through that.
Yeah, so I guess you can try out a few and see what you like, but yeah, definitely go for it. The map tracker can definitely help out for situations like that too, where you just forget one thing and then it's like, oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just want to say GG to you guys once again. It was a nice performance. Good job on your first tournament races, and I wish you both the best of luck in your coming weeks.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for commentating.
Yeah, anytime. All right, well, I think that'll wrap it up for us here. I've been Sigma. It's been a pleasure commentating with you, Liminality.
Yep, it's been a pleasure. And everyone, if you enjoyed the racers, please make sure to check them out on their channels from time to time when they are running whatever. And again, thank you all for watching.
Yeah, and just a quick shout out as well to our tracker. Oh god. Oh god. just oh god. The command. And the restreamer Iceman, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.